Hello, my name is Shamgila, and this is my Code of Ethics presentation for Dr. Carl Estrella, Engineering 2304, Somerset. So I want to begin by talking to you about the CTP building collapse that happened in New Zealand in 2011. What happened is there was an earthquake 2010 of a magnitude of 7.1, and the following year, 2011, they had another earthquake of a magnitude of 6.3. So based on that, we can see that the magnitude was actually had actually decreased the following year. And after doing an investigation of why this building collapsed, they found that the design engineer actually didn't have the required experience for this project. He had previously worked on buildings of only up to 2 floors, where this floor was 6 floors. And what happened is the fifth floor completely collapsed, and then from then on, all the other floors started to collapse. Um, Unfortunately, it was not just the design engineer wasn't who was held accountable, but also the principal that failed to supervise and recognize the inexperience of that engineer. And because of this, the project proceeded unchecked, therefore causing 185 deaths total. So, keeping that in mind, or this collapse and the fact that people lost their lives, I want to talk to you about the code 22A of the NSPE Code of Ethics. But before I continue with that, I want to talk to you about what is the NSPE. And the NSPE is an organization that stands for the National Society of Professional Engineers, founded in 1934. It focuses on providing and upholding high ethical standards in engineering. Having that boundary or standards to work as engineers is very important to know our limitations. And they also advocate for professional licensure and integrity. I'm sorry. That means they want to make sure that everybody that is working in their designated field actually has the qualifications and the knowledge to be able to do so. And with that said, they focus on protecting the public welfare by doing those previous 2 points. They want to make sure that the public is safe and the people are safe. And they also focus to provide continuing education opportunities. They provide training opportunities and certificates, as well as other professional growth opportunities. So going back to the code, this code falls under the rules of practice. That refers to the area or the professional area that engineers work in. And so what they focus on is engineers shall perform services only in the areas of their competence. And to be more specific, this code says engineers shall undertake assignments only when qualified by education or experience in the specific technical fields involved. So what that means is that the engineers must only accept work that they are truly qualified to do so. That means if they have formal education, such as a degree or a certificate, that would help. Or having meaningful experience, that means having hands-on work experience in that relevant field, right? If we don't know what we're working with, and we don't at least have some basic knowledge of what we're going to be working with, what we're going to be dealing with, and it's quite impossible to continue successfully. And so why is this code important? It prevents accidents or failures due to the lack of experience. Probably the casualty that happened in New Zealand could have been prevented if an engineer that was actually qualified, that had experience working with buildings of that magnitude in that level, they could have prevented that, right? They could have prepared for an earthquake. And so it also protects the public safety. It could have prevented just 185 deaths. But it also protects the engineer. It protects them, sorry, from legal liabilities, from being sued, from going against their license. It helps protect their future, being honest and saying, I cannot do this. It protects their future from not being able to be an engineer anymore. So that upholds like the credibility of being able to say, I'm gonna work with this engineer, right? We wouldn't give the heart surgeon the work of an engineer. We wouldn't give the dentist the work of a zookeeper, right? Because it's different skills, different things. So, with that said, I want to remind all the engineers to be honest and truthful, to know your limits, to never stop learning because that will be very important throughout the whole career. And remember that people's lives depend on us. And that's it. Thank you so much.